Hey everybody, Michael Bohl here, and today we are going to explore the WordPress dashboard. Now, if you're new to WordPress, you're going to find there's a lot of stuff on here, and you may say to yourself, what am I supposed to use and what am I not supposed to use? And that's a great question. So probably in the beginning, one of the best things you can do is ignore most of what you see along here. Now I'm going to go ahead and just explore it a little bit and give you a little bit of information about it, but frankly, you don't really need to worry about that yet because this course is designed for you to step through each of these little areas, one step by one step. So whatever I talk about now just kind of gives you an overall global view of everything, but don't worry too much about the specifics. So let's get rocking. First up here is the stats, and this shows you how many visitors you have. Don't look at this, because it'll probably just depress you when you realize how few people actually visit your site. Okay, I'm kidding. But a lot of us will look here and look at this as sort of a metric to see if our site is popular enough. Fair enough. Upgrades, you can imagine what that is. Inbox is something you can't use unless you actually do an upgrade. Posts are where you're going to hang out a lot in the beginning of this course. So you're going to be adding lots of new posts, and this is where you put content on your site. In fact, that's one of the first assignments, is posts. And within posts you have categories and tags and all that. More about that later. Media is where all of the stuff you upload to your site hangs out. So you can go to it, like you upload it along the way as you're developing things. And then if you just want to see it all, you can see it all right here. And you can make it bigger or smaller and all that kind of stuff if you hit the edit button. It's pretty hard to edit inside of WordPress. I actually don't recommend it for photos. Pages are just like posts, except they're different. If that makes sense, and we'll explain more about that later. Here's the comments section. Most people turn comments off on their websites nowadays, but if for some reason you had it, here's where you can manage them. Feedback is here if you can use some kind of form or something. A form is something that people fill out and give you information. You're probably familiar with it. Jetpack is a plugin. It's one of the few plugins that's included with WordPress, and it has a few features to it. There's some upgrade options too, but there is a free version of it. WooCommerce is something you would need to pay for if you're going to develop a site where you're going to sell things. WooCommerce is pretty good. It's a nice system. It used to be its own company, and it was bought by WordPress a few years ago. Appearance is great. That's where you're going to hang out a lot, and that's where themes are. You're going to do some exploring of themes later. Always be careful when you explore themes. You might want to wait till you get to that lesson to do it. Plugins are things that create functionality and improve your site. A lot of plugins you can't use unless you have the upgraded version of WordPress. So you can look around and see what's here, but a lot of it you can't use. If you do have the upgraded version, there's a ton of them out there that are actually free. Here you can see a bunch of paid ones. They seem to be pushing you towards that, but there's a zillion really great free ones out there. Here's users if you want to add more than one user to your site. So maybe you have 2 or 3 people that use it. You can also have different levels of security within that. So you could have a user that can only do limited things, let's say add a post, but can't change the rest of the site, such as the theme. So if there was a reason you needed to do that, you could do that. A bunch of tools down here. These are things for monetizing your site. Probably won't ever really use that. And last is the settings, which you are going to use. This is how we're going to get our site going. It's also where you put in the site title and things like that. And this is stuff that we'll cover later on. So if you want to, feel free to check it out and explore. But just remember that most of this you'll ignore, at least in the beginning, because it really can go in depth and in detail. And this course will step you through what you really need to know, at least to get your site up and going. Have a good time playing.